Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. I'm Tundra Abiola.
Good morning. Welcome back. I'm Veronica Odeka.
Our final guest, Ambassador Ayoola Olukanni, joined the Nigerian Diplomatic Service in July 1980 and between December 1986 and April 1989 served in the Permanent Mission of Nigeria to the United Nations in New York, covering, amongst others, the work of the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 6th committees of the UN, as well as the Security Council. He was then appointed ambassador in February 2011 and posted to Canberra, Australia, and from July 2011 to March 2015, served as Nigeria's High Commissioner to Australia with concurrent accreditation to New Zealand, Fiji, Papua New Guinea, and the Pacific island of Vanuatu. That's a tongue twister. He is presently the Director General of the National Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, NACCIMA. Joining us now to discuss the 2019 budget and economic outlook for Nigeria, let's welcome Ambassador Ayoola Olukanni. Welcome,
Good morning.
Sir. Good morning.
I love those kind of resumes. Great to have
Thank you very much.
Show.
I mean, long resume. I was just an ordinary civil servant in the Nigerian Diplomatic Service.
No, you've had a fascinating career, sir. Yes, you've had a
Ordinary
fascinating
civil
career.
servant serving the country.
Good.
It's nice to be here.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
So let's jump right in and look at the budget President Muhammadu Buhari presented to mixed reactions, to say the least, in December, with certain benchmarks that have been described as optimistic. For instance, oil price was pegged in the budget at $60 per barrel. Oil production was pegged at 2.3 million barrels per day, neither of which actually are borne out in reality. What is your view on the macroeconomic benchmarks that the president based his budget on?
Well, I think the first thing we should say is that I think it was a good thing that Mr. President presented the budget in time. And that is one of the efforts to try and return the budget cycle to the normal cycle, December, January, and I think that's a good one. Of course, there's been a lot of speculations in terms of, look, listen, the bust and the boom of the oil prices is such that you can't just say that this is $60, this is what you do, and the questions were being asked. But I know that the president in his budget also said that they will, of course, monitor things and see how they can adjust that. I'm perhaps a little bit optimistic in terms of $60, and also in terms of the barrels which you produce. But you must have something as a reference point in terms of coming to grips with you. And you know, we Nigerians are people of hope, very hopeful, you know, generally. And the general impression, especially against the background of what has happened, is that most likely it will be a little bit bleak for us. But I want to spin it around, that it will present us challenges. And I think, I know we will get over that. In my own experience, you know, I scaled the fence from the public sector to the private sector. I am now dealing with buying and selling. In those days in the foreign service, when I was in the public service, it was the general idea in terms of ensuring that the things runs properly. It's not just not about profit. But now I have to deal with profit, but bottom line, as the Director General of the Nigerian Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture. But I think in a few words, let's say we have the budget with us. It's our existential reality, and the challenge is now is how do we deal with it?
So do you think that it's friendly? It's people-friendly?
Well, of course, I can say that it's people-friendly in a way. Because if you look at what has happened, especially look at specific areas, so the small and medium-scale industries, and the question and issues of the non-oil sector, and sectors such like mining, which, of course, is one of the major areas which has been repositioned to help in terms of, you know, taking us away from this mono economy. I think, in a way, you can say it's people's friendly. But, you know, sometimes when you're ill and you have to take, you know, the bitter leaf leaf, the bitter leaf, is very bitter.
Yes.
But if you take it, you will be surprised that at the end of the day, you feel good.
Yes.
So we should be ready for some bitter pills, and as far as this is concerned. I in my own career, haven't served, 35 years in the Nigerian Foreign Service, and then ended up in a place like Australia. I've also seen examples like this that, one, you come to a point in the life of a country that the age of entitlement is over.
Yes.
People have to work for it. But I'm happy that this budget is also looking at them, especially areas where people can help themselves. The SMEs, the small and medium scale industries. This morning, I was just listening to the news, and the government has pumped some more dollars into the forex system to be able to stabilize.
Yes.
And if a section of it, I think that close to about $50 million was dedicated to the SMEs. That is a very key and very important aspect of it. And before we continue, I also want to remind us that I think, there's a saying, I think it was the late Mario Cuomo, the iconic politicians, mayor of New York, who was also governor, who said, you campaign in poetry, but you govern in prose. So that is the nitty-gritty of it.
Yes.
You have to. And I'm sure that if you go more into the budget, pierce the corporate veil, you'll be able to see things which are, of course, people can engage themselves in practically.
So much has been made by the government in their economic recovery development plan,
the RGP,
and also from your vantage view with the Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah.
How far along are we on the long road to divesting from the mono economy that we currently operate under? And what, in your considered view, is the general economic outlook for 2019?
I think what I would say is that steady, concrete steps are being made. Don't just be carried away by the razzmatazz, the big, huge issues, screaming headlines. I serve as Director General of Nigerian Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture. The leading member of the private sector, advocacy in terms of advocating the question of more opportunity for the private sector. We're talking about commerce, industry, mines and agriculture. So we're on ground with our members. And let me give you a good example of what I mean in this particular area. Towards the end of the year, we gave a prognosis. We looked at what happened in the past, last year, 2018, plus, minus, mixed bag. And then the projection in terms of 2019. And one of the areas which we are keen and very interested in is the non-oil sector. And I happen personally to have been closely involved, especially with the mining sector. I became an accidental miner when I served in Australia. And for me, it was very interesting that a state like Western Australia was making $60 billion from iron ore deposits. A state like one, $60 billion from iron ore alone. And look at the vast mineral potentials in Nigeria.
Exactly.
And that was why we were very happy when we heard that a company, I mean, this is television, we don't want to give promo, now set up a refinery, gold refinery in Ogun State. This is very symbolic.
Yes.
That we are walking the talk. Apart from that, we are also involved in beneficiation of the vast mineral resources we have. And I'm happy that as far as the mining sector itself is concerned, 7 minerals have been identified as priority, which government wants to work on. And I think gold is a good example of what happened. Is let's sincerely hope that others, such as iron ore, will also receive the same attention. We've been hopeful as far as the Alaja itself is concerned. You can imagine the big, huge impact if the Alaja Okuta iron still comes on stream. That means a lot of industries in that environment. The other area, of course, is agriculture. Either we like it or not, there's an agricultural revolution which is going on, which is reflected in terms of the rice revolution. I mean, we're importing less now, and a lot of farmers are also going on. Then the perception to see agriculture as a business, the whole agripreneur initiative. In those days, the perception is that, You know, we're traveling between Lagos and Ibadan, or you know, between Benin and Onitsha, and you see the farmer with his hoe.
Yes.
You know, that's the farmer. They go farm.
Yes.
But now, a lot of people have now come to the understanding that agriculture is business, it's huge business. And if you look at the value chain, but what I'm also happy about is, and I'm speaking as Director General of NACCIMA, is a large number of young people. Even if you have a Bsc Religious Studies, even if you have a Bsc Yoruba, or Bsc or BA Igbo, that you can go into agriculture as a business. Entrepreneurship development is coming up along those lines, so that government job is finished. I think these are signs which I think are indeed very good for us. And I'm an incurable optimist when it comes to their country and
you
the potential.
clearly are, sir. It's so refreshing. It's very refreshing.
After 35 years and as far as down under in Australia and Vanuatu, you can't but be, because when you see Nigerians in those places, I mean, I'm talking about a huge, big, liquefied natural gas project in the Pacific. Guess what? The project accountant was a Nigerian. And then there's only one mosque also in Papua New Guinea. And when I met the chief imam of the mosque, happens to be Alhaji Mukaila Aziz from Ibadan. When I asked him, what are you doing here? He said, evangelization. Evangelization. That was
with the Ibadan accent.
Yes. What I'm saying is that it's a reflection of the resilience of the Nigerian
people
across the world.
Yes.
So home, what is left was put our hands together to be able to do it.
So do you think that this is obviously a really good thing, because we've been very top-heavy when it comes to oil, and now that you have obviously served in other countries and you've seen that there's more to our country as opposed to oil in this non-oil, you know, government, as we're kind of moving into that right about now. So what is your take on this?
My take on this is that it's a good thing government is helping to focus attention on it.
Elsewhere.
And we're not saying the oil should dry up. Well, we are saying that apart from the oil itself, we also have other things. And of course, the oil, of course, serves other purposes as well. And I'm saying this against the background of what I said again, practical. NACCIMA, last year, we went on for a DGM meeting in Kano. And we decided to go on ground to see what exactly is happening. And you know, Kano, the leather industry, as well as the old Kano dyeing pits are indeed, you know, legendary. So we went around, we got to one of these factories, leather. And then they took us around. They were producing high-quality leather. But high-quality leather, which unfortunately was being sent abroad.
Yes.
Sent abroad and comes back as your big, you know, high-end luxury
products. Yes.
So the question was that, why do you have to do that? If the process started. So for us in NACCIMA, these are some of the things we want to do with our members, and especially members in the private sector. The private sector has shown that it has the capacity.
Yes.
And that's why I'm very happy this government is also working closely with the private sector to be able to capacitate the private sector to deliver. And that's why I think the quarterly briefing by the government, every quarter we get invited and we ask questions. They tell us what they're not doing right. We say, take for example, the question of the infrastructure as far as power is concerned. I mean, the question of stranded power, I mean, it's a little, I mean, it's strange. We were tackling the question of generation. Yes. Oh, we were not having enough powers. No, let us increase the energy mix as far as Nigeria. Okay, we went around the rule. Improve the energy mix, you know, apart from thermal, we also had hydro, a little bit of solar, and we got power increased. Now to evacuate, they said the power is stranded. How can it be stranded? And we understand that, yes, it was stranded because of aging equipment. So the next challenge now is, how do we get those power? And then, of course, the idea of off-grid so is also there. And I'm happy that the budget, in a way, also has addressed this in terms of the amount of money which has been put aside to be able to improve infrastructure.
So what is your opinion of the government's effort to revitalize our moribund manufacturing sector?
Well, that's a big question, and you know, like they say sometimes, that can be the heart of the matter, which is also a matter of the heart. I'm happy that steady steps have been made as far as the manufacturing sector is concerned. NACCIMA is, of course, very keen and very interested in that. All other members of the organized private sector, you know, like the Manufacturer Associations of Nigeria, you have to create wealth. You must just create wealth. And manufacturing is a big and very important part of it. And that's why, of course, the flip side of that is the power sector, which we talked about. You have to, as a manufacturer, if you have to provide practically the infrastructure for yourself, it reflects in terms of the cost, which is going to, of course, affect what you're going to sell, the price, and then your continued survival. And that's why we said a lot of attention should be paid to the manufacturing sector. But beyond that, if you look at it, because a large number of companies, quote unquote, who can be categorized as part of the manufacturing sector, are small SMEs. And that's why we're very happy that government is paying attention to this. And the SMEs clinic, I don't know how many of you who have gone to see the SMEs clinic across the state. I think about 17 or 18 states have had their own SMEs. And the vice president, you know, of course, God bless his soul, who personally goes around to see, and I was at the SMEs award last time. If you go there, you'll be shocked and amazed at the amount of products that have been manufactured in Nigeria by the SMEs. We understand that they employ the largest number of people.
Yes, they do. In
terms of close to over 40 billion. And so in context of the challenges in the area of manufacturing sector, while we are working on the big, huge manufacturers and others, I think if we can empower the SMEs and reposition them to produce from whatever it is. Like I said, I served last in Australia and covering New Zealand, Fiji, Papua New Guinea, and Vanuatu too as well. And I was shocked at the products from Nigeria. And honestly, one of the toughest biosafety laws in the world you can find is in Australia.
It is. That is true.
But we do have our people, even if it is packaged dried fish.
Yes.
Recently, I was in a market in Dallas, and then I saw smoked packaged Nigerian fish. And I said, where do you get this from? He said, from home. You sure? Then I saw the other, these days they don't pound the yam again.
Yes.
They pound the powder. But I live with my grandmother, and I used to pound. That was what I understand, But the point is that some of these products are even produced here and sent out, and some of them are also moved overseas to produce. That is a reflection of the power and the commitment and the ability of Nigeria to produce manufactured goods and also excel outside.
Yeah, so is the federal government engaging the private sector, in your opinion, enough? Are they doing enough?
No, I think a lot of engagement is going on. Yes. A lot of engagement is going on. We do have what we refer to as the quarterly briefings. And I think that's a very solid initiative. The next one is coming up, I think, in about a week's time. I once, of course, I've attended one of those quarterly briefings, And then we also get invitations regularly at various areas. Take, for example, the question of mining, which government said, yes, this is what we want to do. The mining week was held in Abuja in October 15th, 17th, and the private sector were invited to discuss. And also, work is going on in terms of export, rules and regulation. It is a welcome development. Now, we got letters as in NACCIMA and all other members of the private sector with the Ministry of Finance to sit down to discuss how do we do it in terms of exporting the solid mineral deposit we have in Nigeria. And I think this consultative process, I think it's a very good one. It can be better, but the constant engagement is there. Our own views in NACCIMA, it should be continued regularly. And when we also have complaints, We expect that when we write the letters and they shoot the emails, NACCIMA, yes, we heard what you say. Can we find time to discuss these issues? I think those engagements are key and very important, especially now with this budget and all these figures that are shaking.
Thank you so much, Ambassador.
Yes,
thank you very much.
We appreciate you coming on the show.
It's a pleasure. I feel highly honored. We thank you what you're doing. As I said, communication impacts on all areas of development.
Yes.
You're doing a great job, and I'm sure
Thank
that, especially for this year, we look forward to better times.
That's right.
Thank you very much for having
Thank
me.
you, sir.
Thank you.
It's time now for a short break. When we return, Arise News analyst and producer Charles Onwaku will be joining us to review the top newspaper headlines from across the country. Stay with us.